used to take out two cards. And to know if you have a match, there are red marks, blue marks, and green marks. You need two green, two red, or two blue to take out the player's hand. Neither of us have two of each. And so one of us, or both of us, pick up one card more, and still don't have a match. And you just keep on picking up cards until one of you have a match. For this game, it doesn't matter if you look at the other person's deck because you can still lose either way. So you have someone else gets a match, you put down two cards, you split in half, so you just put down the cards on your side. The game keeps going, even when you lose two cards, because the point of the game is to take out the other person's deck. Now if the other person runs out of cards by just putting down cards, then they just pick up one more card and are not out of the game. Unless the other person gets a match and takes out their last card. And so you will just keep on going, as you can see, until you take out the other person's deck. The game can go forever if you don't have any matches, which would be impossible since if you get all the cards, then obviously you can have a match. And as you can see, the game keeps going even though he just lost all his cards due to being technically out. And now he lost.
The core mechanic of this game is picking up the card. In order for you to win the game, you have to pick up the card and try to take out the other person's deck.
To make the game easier, when the cards are facing up, you can see what card it is in order to defeat your opponent with ease. It would be more difficult if you made it so that you need a match of 3 cards. This would make it harder to take the opponent's hand and defeat your opponent.
The economy mechanic is the game board along with cards. The cards are the only thing allowing us to win a game. The game board is split in half so that we know where to put down our cards instead of putting them on our opponent's side of the board.
Challenges the player has faced would be the fact that if you have 3 matching cards, then you take the other person out when the game starts. Another challenge would be finding a match immediately when the other player has. This would cause a disadvantage on the player. 2 challenges would be finding the bounty hunter cards and finding partner cards. These are fewer. There are fewer of these two cards than there are of others.
The type of game we developed is strategic. We have to strategize which deck to pick up from that would benefit us the most in order to win. Our thematics are on the cards, the characters' names, and whether it's a Jedi or not.
The components of this game are the cards and board. We need to have the cards because if we don't, we can't play the game because the game is built on the cards. We can play without the board, but we added the board so that the game would look organized and actually look like it makes sense. The board also gives us a sense of being able to put down our cards on the board without angering the opponent because his side is also messy.
The game would be different if we had another month to work on it by simply adding difficulties and putting in more mechanics and components. Rules would possibly even change to the new game setup that we'd that we would have been able to set up. This game that we created would change a lot more. Along with the details, I might have been able to make it so that you can read some powers off of your cards and be able to defeat your opponent that way.
To make the game way more interesting, we could have added some pictures to identify the cards easier, or add some more mechanics into the game if we had one more month.
If we had another month to work on the project, one thing I would change is the amount of cards just to make it more challenging.
The things that went wrong mostly were how we were playing the game with that first unnamed or uncategorized characters. This made it hard for some to tell which cards matched with which. This also gave a disadvantage for those going against me since I know which cards match which.
Things that went wrong were the amount of cards we started off with. We started off with 7 cards each. This made the game easier to win the other opponent since you have a better advantage to fighting a match. We changed this rule and made it to start off with 3 cards and made it harder.
Some things that went wrong during development is the board setup. We didn't really have enough time to set up the board for the game.
What made the game better was simply adding names and putting the characters in categorizes. This made it simple to find a match of cards easier for those that aren't Star Wars fans. The categorizes simply tell the person when or if they have a match of 2 cards to take the opponent out of the game.
What made the game better? What made the game better? Adding a mix with different colors to identify different types of cards. There are 6 different types of cards. The cards are Sith, Jedi, Partner, Trooper, Senator, Bounty Hunters, and Star Wars cards.
One of the most important things I've learned in class is the importance of cooperating with your group while creating a game. Without cooperation and communication, the game wouldn't really come out the way you expect it to.
If we were given another month to work on the project, I would say to definitely add shortcuts because it would allow the project to be, the game to be more intense because one player would have an advantage than the other. There wasn't any problems that we encountered during the games. Eduardo and Hunter would work on it while they would play the game because they understood it more than me and Julian. And as we watched them, there wasn't any problems. I learned the different game mechanics and how they can have a big impact on the game, and also me as a game designer, it helps me to know what's best for the player.
Our game has 3 mechanics: putting down a card, picking up a card, and losing a card. So we have those 3 mechanics and possibly more. We also need to put down, whenever a player gets a match of 2 cards, we have to put down a card, 2 cards. And if we lose, and then we have to put down these 2 cards, so we lose the cards. And then after that, we have to pick up the card to first get a match. So we have to pick up a card, we lose 2 cards, and you can put down 2 cards. That's about it. Our challenges are the player picking up a card and having bounty hunters, Jedi, and basically just a match. And our rewards is the player winning, feeling good about himself. So we have that going on, and our game modes, easy, medium, and hard. We don't have any game modes, and so it's just player versus player, so we can't really have game modes, and that's basically how our game is going so far. And our only rewards are us feeling good about ourselves. You now know how our game went and what we did to improve the game and what we did to make the game even better. And we now know what mechanics, components, and all this stuff that we've learned so far are, and we have put those into this game to make it better. We have put a game board, we have made cards, and we have also made components All of these things make the game better so that we can make maybe a better game.